and thank you for watching today's video. So spring has officially sprung and I am in love with this glowy, super simple makeup look. If you would like to see how I achieved this, then please keep watching. So before I get into the spring tutorial, I wanted to talk about my ice rollers. So I have been using this like crazy the past few months and I absolutely love this. It is a must-have in my collection. I cannot believe that I never had this before. So basically what you do is you pop this in the freezer and then in the morning, night, or whatever you want to use it, you take it out and start rolling your face. And this is great for depuffing. It really works well underneath the eyes if you have headaches or if you suffer from migraines, which I unfortunately do. This has been a lifesaver. It feels so good. So I highly recommend that you guys check this out. I will leave a link down below. You can also get 20% off if you use my code, and this is definitely a worthwhile product. It's kind of a hyped up product. There's a bunch of different ones on the market, but I swear by this one. I love it, have seen noticeable results. My skin looks tighter, it feels refreshed, and it alleviates headaches, provides some relief. So cannot recommend this enough. So basically what you do on the box that it comes in, it gives you some directions if you want to follow those, which I try to follow those as best I can because they're there for a reason. So I start out underneath my cheekbones and roll. You just go back and forth like this, and this has actually been out of the freezer for almost an hour and it's still nice and cool. So I really love that it really holds in the cold, and so it stays chilled for quite a long time. And then I'll do it underneath the other cheekbone. I'll run it along my chin, and then also if you are suffering from a double chin, this feels so good to roll underneath your neck and use a little bit more force and press it underneath your chin. You can also run down the sides of your nose, and then to depuff under the eyes, you just roll it just like this. It feels so soothing, and especially when it gets hotter outside, spring and summer, this feels even more amazing. Or like if you just come in from the beach or a pool day and like I'm fair complected, so I always look like a tomato after I come in from the outside or being at the beach or the pool. So just to have this on your face would feel so good. And then for headaches, just to run it across if you have them here, or like migraines, just really digging into your temple right here. It feels wonderful, so good. Highly recommend this. So definitely go check out the link below, and it's a great way to jumpstart your makeup routine. So I cannot believe that I have lived without this for so long because I love it that much. All right, so jumping into the tutorial, I am using a bunch of different drugstore products today, which drugstore has really amped up their product game. They have so many amazing products, and of course these are all cruelty free. So I'm going to be starting off with the e.l.f. Putty Primer. This is the luminous version. I really like this because I have dry skin, and unfortunately it's like in that weird transition between winter and spring, and my skin is kind of being really weird, and I have some acne, as you can see. Like I have one here and here. It's driving me nuts, and it's because that transition from winter to spring, it always gets me. So if you suffer from that too, let me know in the comments below like what you do, what products you use, because it's so irritating just to have. I never really have that much acne on my face, but then I'll get like a spot or two, and it's like one of those deeper spots that really hurts and it drives me crazy. But I love this primer because it's luminous, but it's not super shiny. It doesn't make you look oily, and I don't know how it would perform on oily skin, but for my dry skin, I really love it. And it comes in 3 different versions. So it comes in the normal version, I guess, for normal skin, the luminous for dry skin, and then the matte for oily skin. Or if you just really like a matte look, I am not into that look. I much prefer a more dewy, full of life, youthful type of look, especially in the spring and summer. Okay, next up for foundation. So I am trying out the Covergirl Extreme Wear Foundation. So I've heard a lot about this. I have been using it for about a couple of weeks now. and I love it. And then also another product that I'm going to be mixing in it because I do love more of that dewy look. I'm going to be mixing in my Smashbox Halo Healthy Glow All-in-One Tinted Moisturizer. You don't have to do this, but if you're someone that really likes to glow from within or look like you're glowing from within, then it's a great way to do that, is to mix in tinted moisturizer into your thicker, more fuller coverage foundation. So the shades that I am wearing, this is Classic Ivory in the CoverGirl, and then Light in the Smashbox Halo Tinted Moisturizer. So what I'm going to do is just mix out in the back of my hand. I wish I had one of those like handy dandy little mixing palettes, which I don't have. I should probably invest in that because I am always mixing foundations. I really like the way that that looks, and especially if you need to color match, it's a great way to do it. So I'm just gonna mix this right on the back of my hand, the Smashbox and the CoverGirl. I'm gonna show you the color difference. So hopefully this is showing up. So this is the CoverGirl, this is the Smashbox, and as you can see, this is much more yellow. I probably should have gone with a more neutral color, but the color selection in that is not very good. They don't have very many shades, which is my one complaint. But if you appreciate a lighter coverage, lighter to medium coverage, dewier, healthier look, then definitely you need to go check out that Smashbox. So I mixed it in. I'm just gonna dab it, not in any particular order, all over my face. And then I'm gonna grab my Real Technique sponge. This is a great dupe for the Beauty Blender. I have not even touched my Beauty Blender since I got this. It's a lot cheaper, and I actually like it just a little bit better than the Beauty Blender. So a great drugstore alternative. So I'm just gonna start dabbing this into my skin. I don't like a super full coverage look, so that is why I'm using a damp sponge. And I really prefer the way that that looks on my skin. And I'm just gonna dab this all around into my skin.
It's way too easy to say stuff I never do, you know it's not.
Okay, so this is one coat. I think I'm gonna do just a little bit more to kind of go to a more medium coverage. Like if you're going to the beach or something, you could probably just get away with the Smashbox and then head out the door. But because I'm not going to the beach today, I'm just kind of dressing up cute and springy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do another layer of both the CoverGirl and the Smashbox.
How I feel, baby. So can we let this slide? Can't stand to see you cry. Come a little closer, there's something I have to say. I love you when
Okay, so now that I'm done with foundation, you might think that it looks a little bit ghostly compared to my body because I have self-tanned, but that's okay because I am going to use a lot of bronzer, which is one of my favorite beauty products, to amp it up and make me look a little bit more like I have more life to me and to match my body a little bit better. So moving on to concealer, I have been loving the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. This is the hydrating version, and I talked about this before, but the only thing that I do not like about this is that it gets so gunky and dirty right around the opening, and it's because, I guess because it's so thick and because of how thick the applicator is, that it just pushes all that up, and I really don't like that. I love the product, but it's something just to keep in mind. You'll have to clean it up, which is doesn't change anything for me, but just so that you're aware. So I'm going to be applying this. This is the hyped up way on TikTok to apply your concealer. So just right here, and then also to kind of flick it up at the end of your eye. Honestly, this is how I've applied concealer for the longest time. I never went with the whole triangle thing because I found that it was too goopy and gunky for me. So this is a great way to use the minimal amount of product, but to make your eyes look more awake and more lifted. And it really does work, and it works even better. Like the older you get, you don't want to use a ton of product. And even because I'm 26, I still love how it looks. And I'm also gonna dot some to highlight the middle of my nose, a little bit above the eyebrows, the chin, and then around my nose because makeup always wears off there. And then I'm gonna start to kind of highlight my cheekbones. So I'm just gonna dab a little bit underneath there. And then I'm gonna grab my e.l.f. Camo sponge. This is a wonderful sponge to use with the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. It's designed specifically for it. I love the shape. It's nice and thin. It has a little bit of a tapered edge, and it works beautifully underneath the eyes. So highly recommend, very inexpensive.
you and I hope you feel the same. Come a little closer, baby, please don't walk away. I love you when yeah. You got
so now that that's blended out, if you'll notice, I did not focus any concealer on my acne spots here or here, and I used to do that in high school, like really glob on concealer, and I found that it just makes it more apparent that you have acne. So I'm just gonna leave it be and roll with it. It's not really bugging me that much. I mean, I know that it's there, but I don't want to just add more concealer and product to it and make it really goopy and globby. So I'm just gonna leave it how it is. And then I'm gonna go in, this is the e.l.f., let me see what this is called, Flawless Brightening Concealer. This is $5. People are comparing this to the Lvly Eclat highlighter, concealer slash concealer, whatever that product is. It is so pricey. It's beautiful. I've had it before, but I couldn't bring myself to spend that much on it. So this is kind of a dupe for that. And I am in the shade, I kind of got too light of a shade, to be honest with you. This is the Fair 15W. I really like that it has a warm undertone to it. It's a little bit too fair for me, but that's okay. I'm gonna add just a little bit underneath the eye in that same pattern. And this is not a necessary step, but I really love the brightening effect that it gives. I'm not gonna put it anywhere else on the face, but this would make a beautiful highlighter, like where I put that on my nose and underneath your cheekbones. And I did not blend out this underneath my cheekbones yet because I like to blend that and my contour together. It makes it really seamless and beautiful and bronzed. So I'm gonna take that same e.l.f. Camo sponge and blend out this concealer.
Baby, I know you'll do right by me. I'll do right by you. You got nothing to
Okay, now that's done. So I hope you guys can see how that really lifts the eye and gives it a really youthful appearance. So love that trick, and also it saves you a lot of product because you're barely using any. And with a super creamy concealer, that means that you don't have to use a lot of product anyway. So a great tip, trick. Definitely 2 thumbs up on that TikTok hack, something that I've been actually doing for a while, so love that. So moving on, I am gonna go with my contour. So this is from Wet n Wild. This is the contour makeup stick in the shade Call Me Maple, and I love this because, again, super inexpensive drugstore. So I'm gonna draw my contour right above where I placed that concealer, and it's already starting to kind of melt into my skin, which I like because my skin is kind of heating it up, melding it together, meshing it, making it seamless. And when you blend it with the contour, it's like perfect combination. I'm gonna place it there, here, and then I'm gonna contour my nose just a little bit right around the tip. I'm not like super exact with this, which you don't have to be because you're blending it out, and this blends into the skin so beautifully. I don't really focus on trying to make it straight or anything like that. I'm gonna put a little bit underneath my bottom lip to make it look a little plumper, bigger. I don't know if that trick really works, but I feel like it's in my head maybe, but I'm still gonna do it anyways. And then I'm gonna draw a little bit underneath my jaw like this. So I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flicks, and that is to kind of slim down this area. And if you have a double chin, it kind of slims that down as well. And then I'm gonna place a little bit on my forehead. And I don't have a huge forehead, but if you're someone that has a bigger forehead, you're trying to disguise it, you can use a little bit more up here. I just like the way that that looks to give a nice overall seamless appearance with the contour. And then I'm gonna take my Real Technique sponge and blend all that out. If you notice, I use my sponge for a lot of different things. The reason being is because it brings the whole look together. It makes it glowy, and it just looks more seamless in my opinion than using a bunch of different brushes. And so that is a tip from me. If you like the way that that looks and using like one specific product for a lot of different things, then that's a great tip.
baby, I know. We got this.
So now you can see the look is coming together, and I also forgot that I am going to put some contour on my eyelids. So this is another hack. Like if you don't want to put eyeshadow on that day, but you still want a little something on your eyes, then put this in your crease and blend it out, and it makes for a really nice, like easy makeup routine hack. Okay, now next step, I'm going in with my powder. I've been using this one for a long time now. So this is from Fenty Beauty. It is the Pro Filter powder in the shade Butter. I really like this shade. If you are fair, lighter skin tone, then you will really enjoy this. And I've also heard that the lavender shade is beautiful as well. It kind of has like a purple tint to it, but on people that I've seen use it, it looks really beautiful. So I'm kind of curious to try that out. So what I'm gonna do is grab my Real Technique sponge. I have a little bit of powder in the cap. I'm gonna dab into that and I'm going to place that underneath my eyes, sort of baking, not a super thick layer of powder, but just a little bit to set everything and make sure that nothing creases. And then I'm also gonna do that on the sides of my nose. And I'm gonna get a little bit more powder and place it in my contour or right below my contour to make sure that it really pops. And then the rest that's on my sponge, I'm going to, again, I'm using my sponge for powder as well. I'm going to tap that into my chin and below my nose because everything wears off right in this area. And then the rest on my forehead. And the reason that I do this is not doing like using a brush to apply all this powder on my forehead and chin is because those are my drier areas. And so I find that if I really cake powder onto there that it just kind of clings to dry spots. So I don't want to do that. So that's why I'm using a damp sponge to push in the powder to my face. And part of the reason that I love this powder is because it doesn't take away from that glowy look. It doesn't make you super matte, so that is one reason why I love this powder, and also because it lasts forever because I don't use a ton of powder. And I've had this, I want to say, for almost a year, and I'm not sure how long powder is supposed to be good for. Hopefully it's still good, but it does last a very long time. Now to add a little bit more glow to my face, I am going to go in with this Hourglass palette. The name of this palette is the Ambient Lighting Edit, and it has some highlighting powders in here, and it has blush, 2 blushes, a bronzer, which is one of my favorite bronzers of all time. So I'm gonna mix in the 2 lighting powders right here. There's 2 different ones. This is an actual highlighter, but I am gonna go in with these 2 glow powders. Let me actually look what the name of these are. So they are called the finishing powders in dim light and diffused light. So I'm gonna grab my sheer powder brush from Echo Tools, and then I'm gonna dip into those 2 powders and just swipe that underneath my eye where I did a little bit of baking, and then run it down the sides of my nose. And I'm not using a ton of product. I am barely dipping into those, and then also underneath the other eye, and then underneath that contour, and a little bit on the forehead. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with some cream bronzer. I really love cream products in the summer and spring because they look a little bit more fresh and they're perfect for that time of year. So this is also from Fenty Beauty. This is their cream blush in the shade Butter Biscuit. I love this shade. It's a beautiful shade for fair to light skin tones. And I'm gonna grab a brush to do this. So this is from Echo Tools. This is the Define brush. I love Echo Tools brushes because they are super affordable, very high quality, and I've had mine for years and they look in almost perfect condition. So I'm gonna grab that brush, swirl it into this, and then I'm gonna start bronzing my face. So I'm not coming down here, I'm just maintaining like in this area right here, mainly like where your high cheekbone is, and swirling it in. So this is a very buildable product, so you can use as little or as much as you want. And I'm gonna keep building that up, and I'm gonna also place some right here underneath my jawbone and kind of flick it upwards. And that way my skin is kind of melding together and meshing with my chest a little bit better, so I don't have that super stark difference. And then I'm also going to use a little bit on my nose and under my chin. So for my nose, I'm just gonna kind of grab my bristles and squeeze them like this and get some product and run them down the sides of my nose. Just contouring just a little bit to slim the nose and also around the tip. And then I'm also going to add some bronzer on my forehead, just kind of up here, and then bringing it a little bit down. Now I'm going to go in with a powder bronzer. So I'm going to be using that Ambient Light palette, and I'm going to be going in with the bronzer that's in here with the same Define brush. And I'm just building up that bronzer. You can definitely stick to one bronzer, like a cream, powder, whatever you want to use. I like using a bunch of different bronzers to achieve the look that I want. Okay, now that bronzer's done, I'm gonna go in with a cream blush. So I have been using the e.l.f. Putty blushes. So this is in the shade Turks and Caicos. I have not used this one yet. The one that I have been using lately has been Bora Bora, which is a beautiful pink. And this one is more of a coral, which I'm using that because it kind of goes with my shirt a little bit better. And to do that, I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Precision Blush Brush. So what I do, this doesn't take very much product. It's buildable, really creamy and luminous looking. So I'm just gonna dab into the powder with my brush and then start building that up. But to place my blush, I am not gonna go in this area, like on the apples of my cheeks. I am gonna stick it right up here, kind of on my cheekbone, almost where your highlighter goes. And this way the look is more lifted and you're keeping everything up and lifted. So that is the key to makeup, is even on your eyes, your cheeks, no matter what it is, to keep everything going this way and never this way. So to focus everything upwards. So I'm just gonna stick it right here and start patting it in, and make sure not to go kind of in your under eye area. So just keep it right on that cheekbone and moving upwards. And I really like that color. It gives you such a natural flush. It's not in your face. It's a very natural buildable color, which I really, really appreciate. And also, because blush is the first thing to wear off your face, and it seems like no matter what I do, no matter what product I use, that my blush never seems to stay. It's okay to build it up a little bit intense to where you're like, oh my gosh, that's too much blush, but that's okay because it will wear off. And on me, it wears off really quickly. So it's okay if it's a little intense at first. Just make sure that you build it up and that it will stay all day. Okay, now that the blush is applied, I'm gonna go in with highlighter, and again, I'm mixing products. I really love doing this. So I'm gonna be mixing the Buxom Luminizer in the shade Venus. So it takes just a little bit of this product. I'm just gonna take it on my finger and dab some onto my cheekbones, and also I'll put some along my nose and on the tip of my nose, and on my Cupid's bow, and also on my brow bone. Just a little bit of product. It takes very little to get the job done. So you could stop there, but I'm gonna go ahead and get into my Hourglass palette one more time and grab the highlighter that's in here. This is a beautiful highlighter that's not, it's not super, super shiny, but it just adds a little bit of pop to your cheekbones, which I really love. So I'm taking it on this fan brush. This is from Real Techniques. Okay, before we go on to eyeshadow, I'm gonna quickly do my eyebrows. Eyebrows are one of my least favorite things to do because I never seem to get them how I want them. But this $2 product from e.l.f., this is the Instant Lift Brow Pencil. This is all that I use to do my brows, and I use a different gel afterwards. But this is a wonderful product. It's $2. It's a lot better than a lot of higher end brow products that I've used. So definitely go pick this up. It comes in quite a few shades. I'm using the shade Blonde, which works perfectly for my shade of eyebrows, and it does have a spoolie on the end. It is a retractable pencil. It lasts me quite a while, but again, because it's $2, I don't feel super bad if I have to like mess up and then use more product. So how I do my brows is I get my pencil and then I line it up right on the side of my nose to the where my eyebrow starts, and I'm just going to draw a line straight up like this, and then I'm going to go on the other side and do the same thing. And then to frame out my eyebrows, I start on the bottom, which is a very important step. Don't start drawing like on the tops of your eyebrows. Start on the bottom. It's the base of your brows, and it really frames them and makes them look beautiful. So I'm just going to start drawing right underneath, And you can use short little strokes, you can do longer strokes. I like to do kind of shorter strokes. And then at the end, I kind of just draw it on to the eyebrow, and I don't use a lot of product at the end. You kind of want them to be thicker, like out right here in the center, and then kind of like fanning out a little bit lighter, not super dark all the way across, so they're more natural that way. So now that the framing's done, I'm just gonna do little flicks upwards right here where I kind of have a little bit of space in between my eyebrows where there's kind of skin showing through. I'm just gonna do light little flicks like this and fill in the eyebrows, and then once that is done, we will use the spoolie to brush them out. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab, you can use a spoolie on the end of this, it works great, but I'm just gonna go ahead and use my Echo Tool spoolie because I like it a little bit better, and just brush through your brows. And this brushes through, makes them look a little bit more natural and not as fake looking. So as you can see, that really framed my face and gave it a really natural, little bit thicker appearance. And then now I'm gonna go in with my brow soap. This is from Amazon. I've raved about it before in an Amazon video, but this is a great cheap alternative to like a gel, and it keeps my brows in place, which is super important to me because usually I could never get anything to set my brows. So you can spray it with water or with some setting spray. I'm gonna use my setting spray. And then you just grab your soap and you're gonna run it back and forth like this to pick up the product, and then just brush your brows into place. And brows are done, super easy. I really simplified that routine. I used to use like a cream and a stick and then like a gel to keep everything in place, but now I just have 2 steps, my e.l.f. Instant Lift brow pencil and then my brow soap. Simple, easy, I really love that. Now for eyeshadow, which is one of my favorite parts of my makeup routine, I'm going to be using the Tartelette Juicy palette. So my mom got this for me for Valentine's Day. I love this palette, love Tarte products. So this is what it looks like. I love it because you get some cooler pink tones and then you get your warmer golden tones. And I love golden tones on blue eyes. I've talked about this before, but they really make blue eyes pop. So I think today I'm gonna go with the warmer tones. So I'm gonna start with the shade Water Lily, which is this shade right here. It's kind of a bone shade, it's matte, and I'm gonna put that all over my eye. Okay, now moving on to the crease, I'm gonna go in to the shade Inspiring, which is this. It's kind of like a corally shade, which I've never had a color that's quite like that one. And to do that, I'm gonna use my Sigma tapered blending brush. This is a brush that I use for a lot of different purposes. One of my favorite all-time brushes. Sigma brushes are kind of expensive, but they work so well. They're very high quality. And I'm also gonna grab a little wet wipe, and this is a great tip to use like in between your eyelid colors to wipe your brush in between and really get all the product off of it. So I'm just gonna grab that wipe and swirl my brush on there to get the old color off. And then because it's wet, I'm just gonna kind of swirl it on the back of my hand to dry it out some. And then now I'm gonna go into the shade Inspiring and I'm gonna tap it off, and I'm gonna put this in my crease and also above my crease to really blow out the eye and make it look a little bit larger.
I love you when I hate you, and I hope you feel the same. Come a little closer, baby, please don't walk away. I love you when I...
Now using the same brush, I'm gonna go just into my crease and I'm gonna go in the shade Luscious, which is this shade right here. It's kind of a burgundy brown and I love this color. It's a really good crease color, and I'm just gonna focus this in my crease. I'm not gonna go above my crease. All right, next up, I'm gonna do my outer 7. So to do that, I'm gonna go into the shade Grounded, which is the next to the darkest shade in the palette, and do my outer 7, again, using the same brush. I love using the same tools for a variety of purposes. It makes it so much easier to do your makeup. You don't have to have a ton of different tools to get the look that you want. So keep that in mind. If you have this brush, the Sigma, this is the E40, this is a must-have in your eyeshadow makeup collection.
You
And then now I'm going to take that same color and I'm just going to run this underneath my eye about a quarter of the way, just to give it a little bit of color underneath and frame the eyes. Okay, now I'm going to focus on the mobile lid. So I'm going to go in with this dual-ended Echo Tools brush, and I'm going to use the kind of the flat compact side of the brush. I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off from the old color, and then I'm going to dip into the shade Dawn, which is kind of this like bronzy shade right here. This is a beautiful shade. It really adds like a sparkle and a pop to your eyes. So I'm going to dip into that just using the side of the brush, and I'm just going to tap that onto my lid. I'm not going to pull the lid, I'm just going to tap it in and build up the color. Okay, so as you can see, that really brings this look together. I love adding a sparkle to my eyelid. I'm not a huge matte eyeshadow person, like a total matte look. I love, like on my face and also on my eyes, to have just a little bit of something, a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of shine. So I'm gonna go into the shade Reflect, which is this beautiful champagne right here, using the same brush. And I'm gonna take a little bit on the tip and put this on the inner corner of my eye. This is really going to make the eye look bigger and more wide awake. All right, I also added just a little bit underneath the brow bone to really make that pop. And now I'm gonna go in with my finger, and this is, you don't have to do this step, but if you really want to amplify your look and pack up the color a little bit, pack the punch, then I'm gonna use my finger right here. I'm gonna dab into the two colors we just used, so Dawn and Reflect, and I'm going to place that right on the center of my lid. Okay, and now I'm gonna add a little bit more color to the bottom of my eyes. So I'm gonna go in with another Sigma brush. So this is the Sigma E30, it's a pencil brush, and I'm gonna grab the shade Grounded, which was the shade we used in our outer 7. And I'm going to place that right underneath my eye, about probably like a quarter to a third of the way in, and just kind of scrub it back and forth underneath my eye, kind of focusing it right on that lash line. And then next, using the same brush, I'm gonna go back into the shade Luscious, which was the shade that we used right in the crease. And I'm going to draw almost all the way into my corner of my eye, but I'm gonna stop right before I get to the corner. So about 2/3 of the way in. All right, and now that that's done, I'm taking my tapered blending brush again, the Sigma E40. I'm just wiping that off. I'm just gonna use it with no color on it, and I'm gonna blend everything out, bring it all together. All right, now that everything's blended out, the last step in the eyeshadow routine is to draw on a soft winged liner with eyeshadow. So this is something that I've been doing a lot lately. I love that it's not very stark, it's not super thick, it's just very soft and feminine. So I am using my Morphe M165 brush. This is a very tightly packed angled brush, and I'm going into the darkest color, which is this one right here. It is called Euphoric, and I'm dabbing quite a bit of product onto the brush, and I'm going to keep this on the outer third of my eye. I'm going to flick it up slightly right at the end of my lashes just to give it a more lifted, wide awake look. So now that the wing is done, I'm gonna go in with my NYX pencil liner. This is in the shade Dark Brown, and I'm going to tightline my upper lash line. And I don't like caking a lot of eyeliner on my upper lash line because it makes it look very, very heavy, and I'm trying to keep this light and spring-like. So I'm just gonna tightline that upper lash line and put a little bit down here on the outer third of my lower lash line. And then before I finish with mascara, I'm going to set everything. This is the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. This is a great drugstore alternative to like the Urban Decay All Nighter. And this also adds a little bit of glow to your face. So again, you're doing that fresh, youthful glow to your face. All right, and now I'm gonna move on to mascara. I'm going to be using my mascara cocktail, as I like to call it. So this is a mixture of 3 different products, and these are all drugstore. So first off, I'm gonna start with my Essence Volume Booster Lash Primer. Then I'm gonna go in with my Essence Lash Princess Mascara and finish it off with the CoverGirl Lash Blast Clean Mascara. So this gives my lashes a really lifted, long look and also a voluminous look. So if you like an all-around great lash, then these are the 3 products that you need to pick up. Okay, mascara is on, and I'm going to finish this whole look, pull everything together with lipstick. So what I'm gonna do is use my favorite drugstore lip liner, which is from Lvly. I love using drugstore lip liners because they wear off so quickly. I find that higher end is just not necessary. So this is you can see how much I've used this. It is so little, but this is from Lvly. It's the Color Statement lip liner in the shade Nude. So I'm gonna go in with that, and then I'm going to first put on my Tarte lipstick in the shade Rum Punch. This is kind of a darker nude color, and then right in the center of my lips, I'm gonna place a lighter color. So this is one of my favorite drugstore lipsticks. It's from NYX. It's the round lipstick in the shade Summer Love. This is a beautiful, kind of more white nude lipstick, super creamy, looks beautiful in the center of your lips and makes them look a little bit fuller. And then I will finish with a gloss. So I think today I'm gonna use my Buxom White Russian creamy lip gloss. I love this one. I used it for years and years, and it's one of my go-tos. So that is the lipstick look that we will be doing today.
Come a little closer, there's something I have to say. I love you and I hate you and I hope you feel the same. Come a little closer, baby, please don't walk away.
All right, guys, so this does conclude the finished makeup look. It's a very glowy, bright, fresh springtime look. This is a look that I have been doing a lot recently. It's something that I'll be wearing into the summer. All of these products give you such a youthful glow, which if you are someone that suffers from dry skin and you're looking for products that give you a nice glow without looking super oily or greasy, then definitely go check out these products. Most of what I use today are drugstore with a few little prestige products thrown in there, but all of them are wonderful. Give them 2 thumbs up. I will link everything down below as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you next week. Bye.
I love you when yeah.